That's the kind of air conditioning we have on Cape Cod, going out the lighthouse door here at 8 a.m. on Wednesday, July 9th. It is still, and I can't hear thunder. Very different than 6 hours ago. Woke to the sound of thunder. How far off I sat and wondered. It was about 10 feet, the one that woke me up, and I didn't even get that one. Kevin was already looking out the window at that one. He said it was blinding and deafening at the same time. What a night of storms in southern New England. Wow, damage reports coming in this morning from the mid-Atlantic states. Hail, wind, flash flooding, and lightning. Lightning struck 3 structures in Rhode Island: Blackstone, Barrington, and Bristol. Fire departments responded to fires set by lightning. It's electric. We call it the ring of fire a lot of times when you have thunderstorms on the edge of the heat. And the national advisories, watches, and warnings today, flood watches have replaced heat advisories from southern New England. Actually, no flood watch here, but that doesn't mean we're done with the flooding. But more to our south, closer to the edge of that heat. Is that a Carolina wren, Steve? I'm not having my noise canceling mic because I want to hear the birds. So I got something oldie but goodie. An old TK snow stick, which we're going to repurpose for water. Now granted, this isn't your official kind of rain gauge, but this one collected a couple inches of water. So the greening of southern New England, July style. Here's the CocoRa's official data from weather watchers, trained observers, and from Connecticut, just east of Hartford, there's a 1.75. Looks like the most is about, 2.01 or 2.03, somewhere in there, in Holliston, Massachusetts, and also Stoughton coming in with just shy of 2 inches. Here on Cape Cod, it looks like the rain gauge has caught 0.8 to 1.2. I think I'm taking the over at my house. And then, of course, the other weather watchers that report to Cindy Fitzgibbons, and who wouldn't? Someone got more than 2 inches there in Hingham, so just south of Boston. We started hearing thunder here in South Dennis yesterday about 2 p.m. So for the better part of about 12 to 14 hours, I could hear thunder on Cape Cod. That is an unusual event. And now what's going on? We've got this sort of fog cloud, thin cloud. The temperature and dew point still near 70 here on Cape Cod. Here's the roundup from just a few minutes ago, which was 8 a.m. And there's definitely something wrong with the dew point sensor in Kingston, Rhode Island. Quonset Point shows a dew point of 79. Wow. But I do believe the one in Groton, Connecticut, 75 degrees over 75 dew point. So the front came right down the boundary between the cooler air in Canada and the heat that we've just had. The 3-day heat wave is over for New England now. And that boundary settled right to about Long Island Sound to Nantucket Sound. And sure enough, the satellite imagery this morning shows the cloud on the cooler side of the front. The cool air just barely undermines the warmth. It's not a deep cool air mass. It's very shallow. High pressure from Canada. And to the north of that cloud, beautiful southeastern Canada, Canadian border, temperature in the 60s, dew point in the 50s. But then underneath that cloud, it's still sticky and there's still showers. And then south of the cloud over Nantucket Sound, looks like the sun is out over, well, it was anyway, over Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard and Block Island. And that's on the south side of the front. So this front is stalled here until further notice. And the radar, that thicker cloud, extends from New York to southern Canada. The remnant of Chantal never really attached itself to the front. That's now out into the ocean. So Chantal had very little to do with any of this rain. It was just the front from Canada, which is now stalled along the south coast. And here's the radar from a little earlier, actually. This showed rain pretty much the length of I-90 from New York to Boston, and that's on the cooler side of the front, so no thunder in there, just some raindrops. Steve in Shrewsbury says he only got 0.37 in the last 24 hours. While my house in Weymouth, I think my tempest, Steve, measured a 1.2. in Weymouth, Massachusetts, where Janet shared the sunset yesterday. Wow. And this was before a new round of thunderstorms came in, and Weymouth got rocked too. So thunderstorms just rocked much of southern New England. So yeah, this is a long format program here. We talk about the weather, and when there are weather headlines, we do the weather headlines before we get to the weather forecast. And the weather forecast is not an easy one. This front is stalled, high pressure going across southeastern Canada, waves of energy on the front, and I wanted to show one other headline. I forgot what it was. Oh yes, Lindsay here at Mayflower Beach. Lindsay Ransom, happy birthday to your dad yesterday, said this wall cloud came in. They were watching thunderstorms go across Cape Cod Bay. We had 3 storms go across Cape Cod Bay. The heaviest weather in all of New England for a time yesterday was right here, from the Cape Cod Canal to about Wellfleet and Eastham. And then the storms just kind of expanded and erupted all over the place last night. And so another interrupted night. 2 nights ago, I don't know if I said it, but my smoke alarm went off because of the humidity, woke me up in the middle of the night. And then last night, the thunder woke me up in the middle of the night. Challenges. But we did clean the house yesterday on one of the hottest days of the year. High temperature yesterday in Boston was 94, and Norwood was 96. Here on Cape Cod, Hyannis supposedly only got to 88, but my thermometers all said low 90s, but the heat index in Hyannis did get to about 96 or 97, with the temperature near 90 and the dew point in the mid 70s. So that's the kind of air that's just south of this front, and there are going to be waves of energy, so little troughs, surface convergence, and it means off and on rain for the foreseeable future, really. Here's the NAM high res, and it did not do a very good job. Now this initialized at 2 a.m. and it really didn't pick up that rain that was falling at your house in Shrewsbury, Steve, at 7 o'clock this morning. And so it's just a couple of showers around today. We already had our inch of rain, so the models have been saying Wednesday was going to be mostly dry, but it's also mostly cloudy. And the 570 line's not far away, so it's just a shallow inversion of temperatures in the 70s for the most part, some sunny breaks, and then a wave on the front's going to come. And all last week we were talking about, wow, look at that, looks like a possible nor'easter south of us on Thursday. And sure enough, it's a very weak low, but it does go south of us, and thunderstorms erupt tomorrow morning in Connecticut. I think they're elevated. In other words, the lightning's not going to be hitting the ground, but we probably hear thunder, and it'll be just above the cool air, and those thunderstorms roar, or heavy downpours, not sure whether it's thunder or just heavy downpours, roar across Rhode Island midday, and then another round here for Cape Cod during the afternoon, probably between 2 and 4 p.m. being 20Z, and then that kind of fades off to the east, and we're left with fog and drizzle and low-level onshore breeze, and drier air in northern New England, where the sun comes out. We could be 80 on Friday, but the rest of us are in the 70s, and it turns soupy again, it looks like. 570 thickness here, but what you can't see is the low-level moisture that's stuck around. It's going to be tough to burn off the fog. There's very little wind, and so it's a warm air mass, but it could be an inversion, but at least it looks mostly dry. And the QPF, quantitative precipitation, we like to show this because even though it doesn't show exactly where, it gives you an idea of how much precipitation is possible. And this initialized at 2 a.m., so some of that already happened there, Cape Cod and points east. But here comes a few spot showers and storms central and north, but it's really Connecticut tomorrow, beginning around 15Z. That's only 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, and then it progresses to the east across Rhode Island and Cape Cod, and you have another stripe of purple, which is an inch, and red, which is 2 inches, and yellow, which is 3 to 4 inches. So we'll have 2-inch plus rainfall possible in spots tomorrow night, and then it's mostly not raining on Friday and Saturday. But again, we have the fog and the drizzle and the humidity aspect. Oh yes, what about the wind? Well, it's race day, right? In Hingham Bay, I think without thunderstorms today, it's going to be probably rather gray, maybe some sunny breaks, and fog will probably come and go. And the wind looks like those wind barbs are just very light from the east-northeast there near Boston. Looks like only 3 or 4 knots there as the sun goes down. And you can see the very bottom of the map, the wind is still from the south. And then you can see tomorrow it gets a little bit more gusty right along the boundary with those showers and storms, and that wave going just south of us. Air is coming in from the east and much of New England, and then tomorrow night the air starts coming in from the south-southeast and western New England, but still looking at the easterly flow across Cape Cod and the islands down to Long Island Sound, and where at the beaches it partially clears, it looks like. Here's the Boston meteogram for the details on that. Red line is the temperature, blue line is the dew point, and it shows the temperature today in Boston in the mid-70s, which is pretty impressive with an onshore flow, and the dew point gradually coming down out of the 70s into the 60s, and then that rain off and on tomorrow, and the dew point goes down into the 60s for a time and then comes back up tomorrow evening. And then on the weekend, the dew point's back near 70, and it looks like the sun tries to come out each day with the temperature pushing perhaps to 80 degrees, even with an onshore flow in Boston. So it's going to come very soupy this weekend, and it doesn't bode well for great beach weather here on Cape Cod, but not bad. Now I'm on the, well, and then, oh, big, huge change. I forgot. Big, huge change next week. Look at the temperatures. We were talking about 95 degrees on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now it shows more like 70 to 75. What is going on there next week? Wholesale change with the euro, not so much the GFS. GFS, we don't use during hurricane season. So, yeah, I just mentioned I'm on the move. I'm walking around down the yard because we have holes in the cloud right there, and then a blossoming cumulus right here. So raindrops are possible anywhere, anytime in New England, but most focused tomorrow. Fascinating sky, and of course we'll be here doing the play-by-play. All right, TK, get to the euro. Tell us about next week. What's the big deal? It's the wind direction, of course. You got to get the wind direction right. So here we are today. There's that high in Canada, that little 1020 high, but it's been a chilly high, and that cool air is more dense. It undermines the warm air, so technically we're still in a warm air mass, just the lowest levels of the atmosphere are cooler. And you get the wave coming through tonight and tomorrow, and sure enough, there's a wave south of New England. Guidance has done a good job on that. And then over the weekend, that high kind of moves offshore, but not that far. And you have air coming in from the southwest and western New England, still an ocean breeze, and eastern New England, so 70s at the beach, 80s inland, mostly dry, but spot shower and thunderstorm possible each day. And now here's where the changes really begin. Sunday, yesterday the guidance had that front coming in Sunday afternoon. Now it shows a pretty nice day all of Sunday. Sun and clouds, 80s, sticky again. And the front comes in Sunday night and Monday. And so that's a change there. And now that front on Monday kind of stalls out right over us with low pressure developing 2 hours south on Monday night and Tuesday. Now, I think the Euro is the only model that's doing this, but that would keep an onshore flow with off and on rain and low-level fog and drizzle here now into Tuesday and Wednesday. That is such a change. 576 tries to come up here, but then another front comes in next Wednesday and Thursday, and now this takes us out to Friday the 19th, and the heat just didn't come back. Another front from Canada, and the front tending to be south of New England, would indicate no heat wave next week. But that's an outlier run yesterday. So we do the play-by-play on the weather. We do the play-on how the forecast changes. That's 240 hours, by the way, there. And it shows us kind of in no man's land with fronts off to our west and north and a warm air mass, but with an onshore flow. A lot like right now. So, yeah, weather comes in waves, and weather forecasts come in waves. We get a wave of blue sky right there, so that would be some subsidence. And then in a very sort of volatile air mass right behind the subsidence, you have an updraft, and that's that dark cloud right there. And we've got a bunny rabbit right here. Where'd he go? Just hid. Right behind that cedar. Is that a cedar? Come on, bunny rabbit. And the turkeys yesterday. We got these families of turkeys. So we're done with the weather. Oh, this is a good indication of how hard it rained. Yeah, this road we have to regrade every season. So we've got regrading. How's your bark mulch doing? All you guys that put in bark mulch. Water flows downhill, and that bunny rabbit, I think, is right under there. And yes, this hurts my feet. This is gravel. So we got too much rain all of a sudden. Well, not really. We want the grass to stay green, don't we? And the gardens and the hydrangea. The hydrangea festival on Cape Cod is this weekend, and hydrangea love water. So the hydrangea are having a great season. And thank you all for the advice on the oak. Yeah, cicada on the Upper Cape. I've heard about the cicada, and that could be causing the oak branches to look so weird. Look at those two different kinds of oak branches right there. The ones that are decaying and the ones that are new. And that, I think, has to do with the gall wasp right here. So then more from yesterday. We started the day, I think, following some baby turkeys right here. And then I was just kind of complaining about having to do my windows on the hottest day of the year and how I just managed to do that every year. Not sure how I managed to do that. And then Ray Ransom, happy birthday. So it'll be a lighthearted conclusion after Ray. Looking very silly there. Hope you don't mind I showed that, Ray. Very fun person and very fun family and crowd. And pets all over the place, underneath the table and everything. And then we'll have your chickens. I don't know the difference between the different kinds of chickens, but I think we've got roosters and boys and girls chickens separated in your backyard, where you also have bees, prodigious bees. So, Hydrangea Festival on Cape Cod this weekend. Come on down. It's not going to be terrible, but bring your rain jacket just in case. And more from yesterday, a lengthy one. 10 a.m. on Tuesday, July 8th. So Chantel did not merge with the front, not yet anyway. So that's gone offshore. And now we have the in-between waiting for the front from the north. And some potential heavy weather. Wind's picking up from the west. So our crowd over here, where'd they go? Couldn't have gone far. There they are. Oh, remember these guys? They were 6 inches tall. Now they're a foot tall. There were, what, 14 of them last time we were here? Let's see if we can count. One just went around the front yard, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, look at them. Oh, there's another family way out there with smaller babies. I imagine I'm gonna be doing this a lot. Yep, so that's another family with another brood. How many turkeys can one little neighborhood support? When does it become a problem? Does it become a problem? These turkeys have a people problem. These turkeys have a TK problem. Okay, TK, you get back in your house and start cleaning. Angela's garden is perfect, of course. There's TK's garden. Okay, there you go. 94 degrees, and that's not the sun. But windows are clean. Somehow I always pick the hottest day of the year to do this. Just random luck, I guess. 3 p.m., yeah, there's a breeze, but no cloud. Just total blue sky. Looks like some cumulus well to the northwest. And yes, Kate, back on the ladders today. Windows look good though, don't they? Kevin's on the other side working on the hedge. At least it's in the shade. It's a big one. It was so small when we planted it 25 years ago. 9 minutes later, 3:09. I hear these rumbles. I said to Kevin, does that sound like thunder? He goes, sounds like it. Sure enough, there's a thunderstorm now stretching from the east end of the Cape Cod Canal to Wellfleet Harbor. There's the top of it. How about some rumbles to substantiate it? Said I'd talk more about the roses and the lilacs. There they are, just going up into the lilac. And I guess I missed the blossoms of the cactus. So there's, at one point, I guess it was last week, where it's all yellow blossoms and red blossoms. And we've got blossoming cumulonimbus. Getting bigger. I don't think it's getting closer. I think it's just getting taller. The top of it might be blowing off in this direction a little bit. Looks like a chef's hat now. Bordering on mammatus, but not mammatus. Gorgeous. To the north, Cape Cod Bay, getting a good thunderstorm right now, or a bad one, depending on your perspective. What's that ruckus? Mercifully, the cloud has moved in. The thunder has been loud, even though it's 12 miles away. And I think this might be the last screen that I haven't repaired in the whole house that was built in 1962. Seen a lot of thunderstorms here. 427, 88 degrees. Suddenly fat raindrops. We did probably about 39 of the 40 windows. It's not a very big house. It seems like we have that many windows. So now, blue sky south, dark sky right overhead. And Charlie says the sun is out at Mayflower Beach. Could that be possible? Our freshly washed windows. That cloud just went poof. And now it's even hotter than it was before. What's the temperature now? 120? Oh man. How was the weather down at Mayflower today?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. How was the sky?
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Very cumulus.
Very cumulonimbus.
That's why I said come and watch the cumulus.
Charlie Brown shared a cumulus with us from the beach today.
Straight up from Florida, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, which is hotter, Miami or Dennis?
Probably today, Dennis.
Dennis is hotter than Florida.
Probably Brighton, Massachusetts.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine that?
Oh, 2 seconds later, I actually just got hit by a raindrop. It is raining from the sky. Kid you not. 6:30 and another one going into Cape Cod Bay. That's the place. And we can hear this one also in Dennis. And that's like 25, 30 miles away. So we might want to close those doors. Although it's kind of far north of us. I think I'm about done with making videos today. We're going to Ray's birthday, and I'm just going to play us out with some time lapse and some nat sound, maybe from his house of the party. And he's got dogs and bees and stuff, so that should be fun. More of this tomorrow. Look at that little outflow boundary to the north of the storm. You don't see that often when there's an outflow boundary to the north of the storm. So we'll get bees here and bunnies and beautiful garden. And people I grew up with. They like trucks. Good year for hydrangea. Hydrangea Festival is this weekend on Cape Cod. Are you in it, Ray? Asparagus. Garlic scapes. Those are really good right now. You can eat just those seed pods right there. And garden protected from the varmints around here. More bees. I don't really see any activity over there. And who doesn't love to say hello to the chickens? We got chickens. You guys want to come over and say hello? If I feed you a little clover activity, maybe? Come here. Come on. Oh, I'm sorry. You're stuck over there. I don't really get it. You're stuck in this room over here. There you go. Yeah. Big Red. They call you Big Red? Yeah, that's what they call me. Go ahead. So we don't have a T-Rex. We don't have a Mitt or a Steve. But we get two red roosters. Or chickens. I'm sorry, I don't know the difference. That one's probably a rooster over there. There's a big one over there. Man. Large and in charge. Guessing you're one of the bosses. Look at that physique. Come here. Come on. I will come on my own terms. Come on. Over here. We're making a video. It's the end of the day. Very exciting day. Ray's birthday. Come on. Whatever. I can hear thunder. I can hear people. You got a bushy behind. Oh, sure. Now you're gonna come over, huh? Ouch. You missed the grass. You got my finger. I think I'm gonna have to mute that stuff anyway. You seem so skeptical. What's the problem? Have you never been on Out the Door, Weather and More? Come over here. Yeah, it's quite buggy. All right. On your own terms. I get it. Here are my terms. Out the outdoor weather, and more. Piano music means it's nearing the end of today's video. Cardinal chimes in. Name of the piano tune is Up and Down, Round and Round. There are the clouds just skimming Bass River. Really interesting down on the beach today. Word from the people watching the thunderstorms go over Cape Cod Bay. Multiple rounds. Wellfleet, the new rain capital of southeastern Massachusetts. And Weymouth. I have no idea what happened in Weymouth other than it was probably just hot. Day 3 of the heat wave. Same time, Josh in Montgomery, Vermont says it was misting and 69 degrees all day. Alright. I don't think we'll have any chickens tomorrow, but we'll probably have more thunderstorms. Thanks for watching. See ya.